Hello, everyone. Welcome to what's this? Oh yeah, behind the projector. I keep forgetting the title because I need to take better care of my YouTube channel. Anyway, this is your host, the obsessed movie man, Jack, here again with Billy from Arcane Enigma, Sphinx, Shortness, and you may remember him as Kyle. He goes by Kyle.
Hello.
So a little side note, we were going to go with Batman Returns because that's the next movie in the series, but unfortunately, there was the passing of Val Kilmer, who was the Batman after Keaton. And I know people think of him from Top Gun Maverick, Tombstone, well, just Top Gun. Top Gun, Tombstone, and Willow. But a lot of people do think of him as Batman from Batman Forever. And I posed the question to the group if we should cover Batman Forever, which is kind of what you guys say it's like a running joke to talk about in the Discord, or not really?
No, it is.
Yeah, I'd agree with it.
So, for the sake of Val, we're gonna get into Batman Forever. I went down. We all watched it at different times, and I thought I went down a rabbit hole of information. This is a tale of betrayal, corporate interference, backstabbing, and a lot of buffoonery. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about Batman Forever. Who wants to start? Billy, you're the resident Riddler. How were you introduced to Batman Forever?
Honestly, just how this was before streaming services, so just how usual movie theaters would bring out movies one, two, three, sequel, all that stuff. I just happened to come across it after because I grew up with Batman as a kid. Like I saw them all. My grandmother actually introduced me to Batman Returns because she loves the Penguin from that movie. So, and I still have the VHS of that movie.
That's pretty cool that you have the VHS still.
I
And
will say I did fall in love with Nicholson's Joker. He was pretty cool. And then Jim Carrey, as a longtime Jim Carrey fan, he comes along, and Carrey is also Canadian. Hey, Canadian points right there.
yeah,
He introduced me to the Riddler, and the more I researched about him, learned about him, and all that. Plus, as a kid, I always loved solving things, puzzles, and all that kind of stuff. I just fell for it. It worked out.
and I guess then, well, that's actually a fitting way to be introduced to it because it seems like it shaped your life into being a Riddler cosplayer after that movie. Is that kind of what happened?
Pretty much.
I'll ask the same question to Sphinx, Shortness, and Kyle. Kyle, how were you introduced to Batman Forever? Do you remember watching it for the first time?
Yeah, I want to say it was similar to all the other Batman movies because this was what 1995.
Three, I think,
So
actually, or maybe
is
five.
it for this one? I think it was five. But honestly, it had to have been on TV. That's probably how I watched it. I was too young to see it in theaters. Um, yeah, I didn't know too much about Batman growing up. Just kind of here and there what you hear on the schoolyard. But I remember I didn't like the movie. Like I did, but I didn't. Like I wasn't begging my mom to rent it at the Blockbuster. But I mean, as a kid, I really liked the Riddler and Two Face because I didn't know anything about him. I just saw crazy eccentric characters running around, flipping coins, solving riddles. I mean, I don't know.
That was like
I
the
don't know how much crazier you
Googling
can
right
get.
there, sir.
So yeah, as a kid, I was kind of like confused, but also like, hey, this is grabbing my attention. Why not? I like this. But I don't know. I think after I watched it on TV, I kind of was like, okay, that was cool. Anyways, I'm gonna go do something else and probably watch more cartoons. And I think I was more interested in the Batman animated series than I was with these movies at the time.
That was probably a better choice. Please no, please no. But
Oh yeah.
I'll save Sphinx for last. Shortness, do you remember how you were introduced to Batman Forever at all? Like, do you have any memories about it?
Oh yeah. No, I would say my older siblings definitely brought me into this side of Batman. Um, my sister flippin' loved Batman Forever. My brother dressed up as this Two-Face for Halloween.
Oh, really?
I was obsessed with Jim Carrey's Riddler. Just because I adored Jim Carrey from, everything else that he's been in, The Mask, Ace Ventura. So it's like immediately I'm gonna love him. I'm with Billy. Like Jim Carrey is a total win no matter what. Um, but I honestly cannot, and I know I'm probably the odd one out, I cannot hate this movie because I have so much nostalgia for it.
That
Like,
seems
yes, there are parts that I do not like. There are parts that I'm like, oh, it could have been so much better if this had gone down, but I can't objectively hate this movie.
that seems to be a thing with a lot of, I guess, late '80s, early '90s people who are extremely nostalgic for this movie. When I was doing research for it, like there's a lot of people who collected the toys, the McDonald's collector's cups, who remember the
Mhm.
music videos and just the overall style. I can see why this is a nostalgic movie to you and to many other people.
Yeah.
Now,
Versus Sphinx.
yeah, Sphinx. Do you
Yes.
remember how you were introduced? And for context, for those of you who remember the Riddler video that Billy, Sphinx, and I did, Sphinx and I have a kind of interesting, Sphinx more in particular, feeling towards this movie. But Sphinx, do you remember how you were introduced to this movie and your
So,
thoughts on it after watching it again?
so funnily enough, I randomly grabbed it from Family Video, which was kind of like my town's Blockbuster, and just checked it out because Jim Carrey was in it. After watching it again, surprisingly, it's not as bad as I remember, but I still am not a fan.
That's kind of the same boat I'm in. Um when I watched it, I was like, I forgot how dumb this movie is, with sprinkled in with a few semi-serious moments. Compared to
Yeah,
Batman and Robin, which is all completely dumb. But
I very much was impressed with how so much happened while nothing happened at the same time. That's
Yeah.
impressive. I
like
enjoyed watching it,
it was
but
a
I'll never
fun
watch it again.
it was a fun experience to see it again because okay, so when I first saw this movie, I think I was at my grandparents' house, and I like pretty much all of you, I was obsessed with Jim Carrey, and I didn't know much about the other adaptations of the Riddler or Two Face or anything like that. So I ate it up. And then I think, like Kyle, I started to get into Batman the Animated Series and then the other films and then the comics and stuff like that. And I, but it was interesting just, we watched Batman '89 before this, and it was like tonal whiplash to
Mhm.
see it go from, because this was supposedly in the same continuity, it was tonal whiplash to see it go from this dark Tim Burton movie to neon lights everywhere, bat nipples on the suit, Seal singing "Kiss from a by a Rose" or whatever the song is called, and see Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones chewing every piece of the scenery imaginable. But anyway, what do you guys think? No, does anyone
The
want to?
neon was a choice, but I get it was like a choice of the times.
Yes, most definitely.
So I can't hate on it too much. I kind of did really like the aesthetic they were trying to do. Like it's very different from what we're used to in this day and age with it being dark and gritty and like so serious. So I did enjoy that. I kind of miss the campy style of Batman that we got with Adam West.
You were the one, if I remember correctly, Sphinx. You started your introduction to Batman on '66. Is that correct?
Actually, my introduction to Batman, surprisingly enough, was Arkham Asylum.
Gotcha.
Or actually, if we really want to do a deep cut, it was Holy Musical Batman, which led into Arkham Asylum.
Yes.
Yep,
Oh my
that's
god.
what really did it.
I
Fucking
was
love Holy Musical Batman.
I was
It's so
completely
good.
I was completely wrong on that guess. I would never have guessed Holy Musical Batman, but
I know.
That's, I've still yet to see it.
You need
we'll
to.
we
It's
maybe
so
have to
good.
cover it one day. But I guess we'll start off with Val Kilmer.
Rest in peace.
What did you, before we start off on it, I thought I should mention that Keaton was supposed to be in this movie, but he left not liking the direction, and he ended up turning down $15 million to be in this movie.
Damn.
Oh my gosh.
There were other actors considered. Ethan Hawke turned down the role, which he eventually regret, which is ironic because in 2022 he would voice the Batman character in the preschool cartoon Batwheels. Other potential Batman actors consisted of William Baldwin, Daniel Day-Lewis, Kurt Russell, and Ralph Fiennes. Ralph Fiennes, you would all know, would one day go to voice Alfred in the Lego Batman movie.
I love that version of Alfred.
Tim Burton stayed on as a producer, and he, of course, was pushing Johnny Depp to play Batman.
Hmm.
And
Oh my god.
You
did
imagine
you see that or no?
I wish. That would have been so funny.
That would have been interesting to see.
I want to see him as Batman
Yeah.
with the Willy Wonka voice.
I
I'm
want a Kurt
Batman.
Russell. I want a Kurt Russell Batman movie.
That would be cool too. That would have been
Mhm.
awesome. But for Val, the story went that this is ironic too. He was visiting an actual bat cave in Africa when he was contacted by his agent about the role of Batman. Like that, no joke. He was in a literal bat cave.
That's a sign if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, he thought so too. He said that he thought it was a sign, and he signed on to the project without reading the script or knowing who was directing.
Oh, Val.
That's a choice.
Yeah. I guess we'll then talk about Val before we. Yeah, let's talk about Val. Who wants to go first? Thoughts on him compared to Keaton, or thoughts on him as his own iteration of Bruce Wayne? Who wants to lead the discussion?
I liked him.
He
I thought
was
he did a
not,
decent job.
yeah, objectively he's not a bad choice for Bruce Wayne.
I agree, yeah. His Batman is kind of just there, but I liked what he brought to not Michael Keaton, to Bruce Wayne. But yeah, I really did like Val because they really emphasized the psychological trauma he was going to. You can debate if it was handled well or not, but you could kind of they dealt with the psychology of being Batman, the toll was placing on him, and I thought it showed pretty well through Val. Billy, did you have any opinions on Val Kilmer's performance, both as Bruce Wayne and Batman?
Well, regarding him as Batman, he's a little forgettable and derpy in certain moments.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we all know the scene that we're talking about.
Yeah.
The scene that launched 1,000 memes.
Oh my gosh,
That's- That smile.
I mean, to be fair, it is Nicole Kidman in Nothing But a Sheet.
Meh.
We'll get to her later.
I get it.
All I have to say is meh.
Wow, you're gonna dishonor the memory of Val Kilmer was just No, I'm kidding. I'm giving you a hard time.
No, I'm talking about Nicole
But
Kidman.
speaking of, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was talking about Nicole Kidman, not Val Kilmer. He gave us the bat derp face and a lot of other good memes.
I do appreciate the memes, and I will agree his Batman was just kind of meh. There wasn't really a personality to it aside from that infamous shot. I think that showed a little bit of a fun side to him. Even I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but it was like Joel was saying, Val, just give us the goofiest grin you could possibly muster.
I mean, I feel like he was really giving everything that anybody watching that film would have done
Yeah.
in that situation.
Because
Except for Billy, clearly.
I did like him as Bruce Wayne, though, especially during the serious moments. He had gravity to those moments. Especially with him and Alfred. Those moments in particular, really, you could tell he was giving it his all and not phoning it in. I could definitely buy Val Kilmer as Bruce Wayne, particularly when he's reflecting on his trauma. That's something a lot of the Batman movies until The Dark Knight, they don't really dive too deep into it. Burton's version, it's more visual storytelling for the trauma, but for Schumacher's, it's verbal with a bit of visual mixed in.
That's pretty much a good way to compare it because it's almost like Burton didn't really care about the story as much as he did the visuals, like you were saying, whereas Schumacher was kind of, well, all over the place.
Mm.
But we were talking about Chase Meridian. It turned out that if you remember Renee Russo, she was supposed to be playing Chase Meridian, but when Val Kilmer was cast as Batman, she was deemed quote unquote too old next to Kilmer, so she was dropped, and Nicole Kidman got the role. And Nicole Kidman revealed in like an interview the reason she took the role is because she quote wanted to kiss Batman unquote.
Good for her.
That's a valid reason, you know?
Yeah.
That's very fair.
I mean, that explains her character arc.
Yeah, because if let's talk about Dr. Chase Meridian.
She is the
The
one
pseudo-
thirsty girl.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
the pseudo Harley Quinn.
I
She-
think the
Ooh.
first. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sphinx. For shortness, who I didn't see.
No, you're good.
The first line she says in the movie, I believe, is when she sees Batman enter the scene, and she says, "Hot entrance."
Yes.
Like she is hardcore. Like you guys were saying, thirsty, hardcore lusting after Batman. Like she abuses the power of the bat signal to lure him there, and just what is it? She says, "Hot rubber." When she like was like caressing his chest or what?
Yeah, black rubber.
Black
Like,
rubber. That's it. And she
Oh
does.
my gosh.
She mentions Catwoman there. Like, do you prefer women in vinyl with whips or something like that? She said,
yeah. It's
Yes, he
She is
does.
something.
Two
What
of
what
them.
about when he visits her at her house and the
Oh.
way she's like sleeping?
It's like
Yeah.
it's like a Harlequin romance novel.
Like she was straight up just like, "Oh, he's coming! Quick, quick, quick! Let me get in position." And was just like,
She pretty much is.
just like, "Oh, are you here?"
Yeah, pretty much. It's like she's pretty much a Harley Quinn romance novel character put right into a Batman.
a Batman film. It's
Yeah. It's almost like because they said they wanted to lighten this film up for kids because of Batman Returns.
and that's what they chose?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Wait a minute. For kids?
This doesn't feel like it's for kids.
Well, I sure as hell don't want to see the director's cut.
Yeah, but speaking of Batman Returns, Batman Returns made $150 million less than the first film, which left Warner Brothers disappointed. And I talked about how this movie was going to be kind of Warner Brothers centric, or how this whole behind the scenes. Warner Brothers ended up deciding that the main cause of the failure of Batman Returns was the dark tone, as they put it. And it was agreed upon that Burton and Warner Brothers would part ways, but again, Burton would end up remaining as a producer. So does that kind of make sense to you guys? To just because you have one sequel that doesn't make as much money or sell that much toys, you just ditch Burton and then change direction? What do you guys think of that? Or what do you think of let me start over. What do you think of Warner Brothers' decision to axe Burton and go with Joel Schumacher?
In corporate speak, it makes sense, but in realistic sense, it makes no sense.
Like
I'm
They
not
want
gonna
some-
lie. For a really long time, I thought Batman Forever was directed by Tim Burton. I only very recently found out that was not the case. So to me, it doesn't make sense.
No,
It gives
to
me
me,
like Beetlejuice vibes with the like color grading and everything.
I could see that.
we got two Burton, two Schumacher, and you can tell whose is whose.
And
That's fair.
I remember
It's funny, Warner Brothers did it twice. They bit themselves in the ass twice. Because they said with the first one, let's play it safe but do okay. Both Batman and Forever, the 89 and the Forever one, are the first of Burton and Schumacher. They did pretty good. The 89 set it all off, and then Forever's like, okay, let's total shift. And then Batman and Robin and Batman Returns are just the directors unhinged.
yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna deny that.
I
So it's
think
like,
that is well put.
Yeah, it's like Warner Brothers, you did this to yourself twice. Who really needs to think about their actions? Now go in the corner.
Warner Brothers, they could do no wrong. Release Coyote versus Acme. What?
Track record. Their books aren't doing so good.
But when
And
they
I just wish they kept the tone and just kept the directors. They kept Burke because imagine what we would have gotten with a serious version of Two-Face and Riddler with Billy D. Williams reprising the role and Robin Williams playing a more serious version.
I mean, we will get a glimpse of it with the book coming out.
that would be nice to read.
There's also the fanscription.
Exactly.
That was good. I've listened to it so many times when I'm doing stuff around the house.
Before we get into the villains, I will say another thing that another Warner Brothers note was or a producer was saying they wanted to go for the quote unquote MTV generation so they could go with the full merchandising appeal. And I think you could kind of see that with the color grading of like Wayne Manor, where it's really it looks like a music video half the time to me, the movie.
I mean,
That's so
it
fair.
definitely played into that aesthetic, and it succeeded in that.
Well, better music video than a toy commercial.
Well, we still have the toys, but that was heavily handed in the next film. But we then get on to the villains that everyone loves so much. Let's start with Two-Face and just get it out of the way, because Riddler is the one that steals the show.
Oh, yes.
Schumacher did not... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Billy.
This is going to be a fun section, everybody. Buckle up.
Oh, Tommy Lee Jones is so good in so many things. This is not one of them.
Yeah, he was the reason he did the film was for his son, apparently. He was hesitant to accept the role of Two-Face, but he did it because his son insisted on it. I guess we have his son to blame.
Rude.
Before we get into
Ouch.
what we think of Two-Face, other actors considered for the role included Al Pacino, Clint Eastwood, Martin Sheen, and Robert De Niro.
Okay.
Are there any of
Robert
those
De
names
Niro.
stick out to you on who you think would make a good Two-Face?
Al Pacino.
Robert De Niro.
You know.
I'm kidding, by the way.
Al Pacino, Robert De Niro.
No, for that film, yeah, Al Pacino would have done a lot better.
Yeah, for that specific film, Al Pacino.
I just want to see Al Pacino as Two-Face now. I'm curious.
But no.
This coin.
Robert De Niro as a Two-Face sounds so flipping good.
Yeah.
I think Clint Eastwood sticks out to me because wasn't he supposed to be in the '66 show as Two-Face? I heard someone say that once that they were going to put.
I don't know.
I heard they were going to put Two-Face in the show, but it was too scary. Anyway, we got Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, and who would like to go first on that buffoon? Or no, I don't know. We'll explain that quote later, but anyone want to? Shortlist, you gave your 2 cents on Tommy Lee Jones. Would you kind of want to elaborate further on that? On your thoughts on not Harvey. Well, yeah, Harvey. Anyway, would you like to give us some more thoughts on what you think of Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face?
On paper, it makes sense. Again, Tommy Lee Jones would have done a fantastic Two-Face if they had done exactly what they did in the animated series. I truly believe that. Which is more, straightforward, more, darker tone. But the fact that it's a Joel Schumacher film and they essentially just rehashed Joker, and it's just, it did not work.
There's two.
Not to say that Tommy Lee Jones cannot do comedies. He can do comedies.
Yeah.
But this just didn't work for Harvey.
For that particular character, you need something more serious and
yes. Because, I mean, he used to be, Gotham's White Knight. He used to be on the force of good, and you really don't get that sense in this one.
They show a flashback of him on where Batman is in the courtroom for some reason and saves him, tries to save him.
Yeah, it's like 30 seconds and it does nothing.
There's one scene where I think he's fine, and it's his introduction until he dissolves into madness, basically. The monologue, I think, is okay. but then he just starts hamming it up as soon as he flips the coin.
Exactly. Dang coin.
Yeah, like Sphinx, Billy, Kyle, what do you guys think of Harvey Two-Face Dent in this movie?
I wish we got more Harvey.
Like him
More,
as Harvey Dent?
yeah. That would have been nice. Instead of the weird flashback, and for some reason Batman's there. You have no idea why he's there. It's really weird.
He's gonna be called as a witness.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I wish they kind of showed a little bit more of the dynamic between Bruce Wayne and Harvey Dent before all of the like courthouse stuff went down and everything, just as like to show that there's history there. And it would kind of make sense on why he was randomly in the courtroom if they really wanted to keep that in for some reason.
Billy, you have any thoughts?
I'm just still thinking about just a bunch of people on the jury. Batman.
Just a random guy in a bat costume. Batman, what do you think of this? Were
If
you
I
there
saw
the night
Batman in
off?
a courtroom, I would get out. I would be like, I can't do this. Bye.
Were you there the night Boss Maroni invaded your son's birthday party, Batman?
Yeah.
I'm a. Oh, sorry, go with it.
I really wish they had more of a dynamic built up between him and Bruce Wayne. Harvey and Bruce Wayne, as it was better explored in the animated series of how close they were and good friends that they are.
So good.
Show how just difficult it is for him to go against Two-Face because that was his former friend. Especially the fact that, oh, he's going to try and kill us. Batman just happens to have a handful of coins and he tosses them at Two-Face, who then falls off the grating to his death. It's like, you just killed the best friend right there.
Did they steal that scene from Batman the Animated Series? Because that happens in Two-Face Part 2 when Harvey flips the coin to decide if he's going to kill Rupert Thorne, and then Batman just throws a bunch of coins into the air. I feel like that was stolen.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But also, Billy, he has that one line where Harvey's like, "Thank you, Bruce. You're always a good friend." There you go. You have that line, Billy. There.
No, that does not count. How dare.
The point of movie media, show, don't tell.
Exactly. I hate everything about Tommy Lee Jones because Two-Face is my favorite Batman villain, as you all know. And I think it would have been cooler if they got Billy D. Williams to come back and he would not sanction this buffoonery. He would play.
He would go Burton Dark.
He'd go Burton Dark. Can you imagine if Burton directed Two-Face in one of his movies? Because you could do the sets would have been cooler, in my opinion. Some of his hideout is okay, and I just think it would have been visually more interesting that what you could have done with Burton directing a film with Two-Face in it.
Mm-hmm.
But we spent too much time on Two-Face. I think all of us know
why we're here.
Are for better. Billy, do you want to take this one because you are basically the official Riddler of the group? Would you like
Riddler aficionado?
What do you think of Jim Carrey's? I know we've discussed this before, but for those who haven't seen that episode, what do you think of Jim Carrey's Riddler?
I mean, I can't hate him because I grew up and it's nostalgic for me. He was also my introduction to the Riddler. And part of me does also see a sort of homage to the first Riddler, Frank Gorshin. So I can't really hate him for that performance. If there's anything to hate, there's just the studio interference and Warner Brothers wanting to ham it up for kids and marketing. I still enjoy his portrayal, even though he's kind of the cliched nerdy guy going up against his boss because he was wrong in some kind of way, for some strange reason, after obsessing over his boss or whatever icon.
Like, I don't know if Riddler started this trope, but he's really the face when you think of it, of the obsessive, nerdy fanboy who turns to villainy.
Yeah.
Like, you get that with Electro, you get that with Aldrich Killian. Maybe you could argue Catwoman started that trope in Batman Returns, but I think Jim Carrey's kind of the face of this trope, for better or for worse.
I was gonna say she's definitely the start of like the ugly duckly turning into a swan, but definitely not obsessive nerd.
I
Yeah.
guess it would be Carrie if you had to pick who starts that trope.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sphinx. I know that this is your favorite depiction of the Riddler. You gushed about him in that Riddler episode we did a few months back. You want
Mm-hmm.
to iterate to the folks at home what you think of Jim Carrey's Riddler? But in all seriousness, has any of it changed since you've seen this movie?
No.
You guys didn't see it, but he was looked like he was
Wait
thinking
for
about
that.
it. All right, would you like to elaborate?
No. It hasn't changed at all. I still don't think he's a very good Riddler. I do think he's a horrible characteristic or caricature, is that the right word?
Yeah,
Of the Joker.
Yeah.
I'm really over studios rewriting the Riddler's backstory. I think his original backstory fits him very well, and the obsessive nerdy trope, I don't like that.
What
yeah.
is his
But
original backstory?
he like he cheated in high school on a puzzle competition and his dad got mad at him because he was like, you cheated. He's like, no, I didn't, but he really did, and he like ran away to the circus and started doing like rigged games and that like etc
Oh,
etc. The Riddler was born.
He was a con man, basically.
Yes, that's
huh.
fine. We don't need to add in all the extra stuff. Like just keep him how he is. It makes sense in the long run. I did find myself enjoying certain parts of the Riddler stuff. That hurts me to say, but I still don't overall. I don't like it. Jim Carrey did too much. I always like preferred the like stoic nature that he had, and then he flips to like the crazy. It's more daunting that way, but he just hammed it up the whole way through. So I was like, I wouldn't be able to take you serious. He would kill me because I would be laughing.
We did ask. I did ask you guys if you think this was actual character or another Jim Carrey performance. I think you all agreed this was just another Jim Carrey caricature.
Hmm.
I feel like I was watching The Mask.
Yeah.
I saw the Grinch a couple of times. I saw the
Mhm.
Mask. I saw the Cable Man. Like I did not once see, oh, that's the Riddler.
I think the Cable Man is probably the best description of this. It's like another retro, the dark, funny kind of Cable
Mm.
Man vibe. Kyle, what did you think of Jim Carrey's performance as the Riddler? You said you weren't really familiar with the Riddler's backstory. Do you kind of have at least from like the animated series or other interpretations, you kind of have an idea of what the Riddler is all about, like from the Arkham games, for example?
Yeah, I think at the time when I was a kid, it was all right. I mean, it's the guy who gives you a riddle and you have to solve it, or he kills you in a exaggerated way. And as a kid, it's Jim Carrey, so you're going to be entertained no matter what. But looking back at it now that we just watched it, yeah, it's a little much. It's pretty much just him doing one of his characters. Doesn't really give anything new. I do like his original backstory with him being obsessed with puzzles and going to the circus and then becoming, like you said, a con man. That's actually really cool.
It'd be nice
But
if they did that.
yeah, it would be nice if they did that and then they still kind of made him like a tech nerd, like they did in this
Mm.
movie. I did really like that, how he made his own inventions and everything, even though it freaking didn't make any sense. His blender hat thing. Um, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. I think I'd only be a big fan of it if this was like the only iteration of the Riddler I ever had. I'd be like, oh, okay, whatever, it's fine. And then as soon as I watched um, other what would you call it, projects with the Riddler, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he's not supposed to be like this. He's supposed to be a lot more. I don't know the term professional.
So,
I guess
yeah,
more.
professional is a good way of calling that.
Yeah, but I think if they would have kept his original backstory and made him a tech nerd like they did in this one, I think it would have been really interesting. But yeah, him being weird, a little too weird. The jumpsuits, the bedazzled suits. him dyeing his hair, like it's just so extra.
That
It's
was
all over the
weird. Like
place.
he would dye his hair back and forth. It made me think at some point he was wearing a wig, but it's like no. Sometimes he has red hair. Sometimes he has his Jim Carrey hair. It's like
And then
I
sometimes it was like short and then long.
yeah, I did really like though when he went back to his former like I don't know what you call it. Like he went back to normal. He became Edward Nigma and he like showed up at that charity event.
yeah,
That was actually really funny how he just kind of went back to normal and he's like, "Oh yeah, and I'm a billionaire now. I'm just like you."
he's trying
And he
to
was
be like
taunting
Bruce Wayne.
Batman.
He's trying to
Yeah.
copy Bruce Wayne right down to the mole.
Oh yeah, the mole.
Changed his glasses. He's such, oh my gosh.
Jordan, do you
Such
want
a
to give
fanboy.
your do you want to give your thoughts, Jordan, on Riddler?
Again, I love Jim Carrey, and I have so much nostalgia for this movie, and I cannot hate it. But again, there's just so much to unpack. Not a lot good. Because again, I too I adore the animated series Riddler. I love what they did with Riddler in the Arkham games. And like Jim Carrey really kickstarted that interest as a child, but like looking at what he could what Edward Nigma could be versus that, it's like day and night.
For real.
Like,
Mhm.
I think we all know Robin Williams, who was previously interested in playing the Joker, was in discussions for the Riddler, but he turned it down. But there were some other actors that were considered. John Malkovich, Brad Dourif, Chucky himself, Kelsey Grammer, Matthew Broderick, Phil Hartman, Steve Martin, and more.
Ooh.
I think Brad Dourif would have stuck. I think Brad Dourif sticks out to me.
Steve Martin.
Oh,
I agree. I kind of want to see Steve Martin do it, Loki.
that
Same.
also would have worked. He's very close. He's very similar to Robin Williams.
I'll
Uh,
never, that's a betrayal I'll never get over. I didn't know Robin Williams was in discussion for that.
he was the one who ultimately left on that one. Apparently, he was more interested in playing the Joker. Sorry, Billy. Um,
That's so sad.
but
That would have what we could have had.
another person that lobbied for the role, like really lobbied hard, apparently, Michael Jackson. I don't see that.
Wait, I don't see it either, but I want it. I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. I would love to see that.
I'm not sure if we really need to go over Robin. We can, but I'll quickly say actors considered for him were included Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Mark Wahlberg, Ewan McGregor, Jude Law, Alan Cumming, and more.
For
But
the Riddler?
for Robin, sorry.
Alan Cumming?
Oh.
Alan Cumming was considered for Robin. Leonardo DiCaprio got as far as talks, like talking to the director or the producers of being Robin. But Chris O'Donnell got the role. And I like Chris O'Donnell. Like, have you ever seen Scent of a Woman? He's really good in that. But I guess I'll just ask because we're gonna be here forever. We can't analyze every single character. But for Robin, do you guys like how they handled him? I guess I'll ask.
No.
Like,
He was like 30 years old. And I feel like
Yeah. And their youngest, Dick Grayson, who's the youngest, 30 years old. He's clearly 15.
his older brother is 50.
yeah, what the heck?
Oh
Also,
my
like,
gosh.
why did they give him like most of the cringy scenes to do? Like, why does he have to be so extra and hang up his laundry like that?
Yeah, I was
Or-
just thinking that.
To show how agile he is. Excuse you.
We have to
There's
establish
a
that he doesn't.
million other ways they could
We
have
are
gone about
establishing that he can be a sidekick.
But I feel like their thought was, oh, we need to show that he has the skills to be Batman's sidekick, and then he just gets captured on the island, and that's all he ever does.
He gets to kiss the girl.
Yeah, does Batman
Let's
ever
get
get to
to
kiss
kiss
the
the
girl? Ugh, that line was so cheesy.
Oh,
that.
Like he did. I feel like he didn't do anything in this movie. He just kind of was there, and he was like, "Oh, I get to drive the Bat boat, huzzah!" And that was all he did.
and then it gets blown up because they're playing Battleship.
Battleship.
Yeah. Ugh. Like,
B12
Oh.
and my favorite vitamin, if I might add.
but
Mhm.
I'm indifferent. I like the suit. I think that's the best you could make the Robin suit in a film.
Yeah,
I
it
like-
does look more like
It's not a
armor.
bad suit.
It does look more like armor than
Yeah.
what Burt had to wear.
And I do,
Nothing.
as cheesy as it is, I like the little shout out to the 60s show where he's like, "Holy rusted metal, Batman." Huh? This
Yeah.
full of holes, you know? Holy.
And then Val Kilmer's Batman's all like, what? Oh.
Oh yeah. Well,
Oh.
why does he respond like he goes, huh?
It's holes full of holy. Get it? Oh.
It's Batman. Yeah.
It's like you're waiting for the drum to come in. Ba-doom.
Yeah.
But then they realize, oh, we can't put that sound in. It's not that kind of movie.
Also,
Not yet.
Joel Schumacher went out of his way to distance this movie from the Burton films a lot, even though it's supposed to be in the same continuity, whether you agree or not. Like the Batmobile was changed, the Gotham was changed,
Yeah.
the music was changed. So there was I forgot who did the music. Oh yeah, Elliot Goldenthal. He replaced Danny Elfman as the composer, and they had to give Batman a different theme. But here's something that caught my eye. One of the people who submitted a design for the Batmobile in this film was none other than H.R. Giger, who you might know as the designer of the Xenomorph from the Alien series.
Ooh.
Yep.
That
That.
explains.
They
That
did not
explains the
they did not accept his design because of well, if you know anything about H.R. Giger's work,
Yeah, if you're marketing that movie to kids, you don't want Geiger's work.
No.
But what did we all? I think we commented on the Batmobile. Did you guys like it or not really?
It felt like
I
it was
love
the same
hex bugs.
Batmobile. Not the hex bugs.
It looked like a hex bug,
Yeah,
It was
like an old school one.
it was the same Batmobile, but they just added like bigger wings on top, like the little bat wings that were always closed, and then they would be open, and then they'd be closed again. And it was like this. This is his Batmobile, and like this is the wing, and it was just like going around. It was really flimsy and cheap looking. But
Very unstable.
very not practical. Oh, but come on, it could drive up walls.
I forgot about that.
Cracks me up. Use the world's most powerful grappling hook. If you think Batman looks cool swinging up the gargoyles, why not have the Batmobile swing up gargoyles?
That's so ridiculous. Here's some drama. If you guys are interested, who wants to spill the tea, as the kids say these days? There were a lot of arguments on the set. Val Kilmer and Schumacher argued during the movie's production. Sorry, Val, I know this was a dedication to you, but we don't care anymore. No, I'm kidding. That was dark. That was dark. I'm sorry. Val Kilmer and Schumacher argued during the film's production. Kilmer allegedly fought with members of the crew and would not speak to Joel for 2 weeks after Joel told Kilmer to stop being rude. And then there's the more infamous one that Billy and I often joke about. Tommy Lee Jones absolutely hated Jim Carrey. Like, he went up to him and said, "I hate you. I really do. I cannot sanction your buffoonery." And Joel Schumacher and Jim Carrey confirmed this was true. Billy and I have made this a running joke where we'll just constantly mention that quote from Tommy Lee Jones, the buffoonery, and just he says that, but then you think of Tommy Lee Jones's buffoonery in this movie.
It's a bold statement.
Hold on, it's kind of the hypocrite.
Yeah, very much so. It's like he's competing with Jim Carrey.
It's just like the scene in The Lair after Riddler just walks in after being cued, despite standing there as the camera captures him.
I never noticed that until you brought it up, that he's just there in the background. You can see that bright green suit just speaking of
all of your expressions. I wish I could have caught that, but my phone was acting up. Were priceless. I wish I could have gotten that, but when he shows up, and you could just almost see in Tommy Lee Jones' eyes, as soon as he has the gun right to his face, you can just hear in his mind, "Is this loaded? Is this loaded? Please be loaded."
But there's also, we kind of are getting to the end of it,
Mhm.
but there was a lot of merchandise made for the film. Merchandising. There was action figures, novelizations. I got from high school the comic book adaptation. I have that. I'm looking at it right now.
Ooh.
There were Six Flag Parks had a number of various rides, stunt shows, and more attractions. And one of the more fondly remembered things were the collector cups at McDonald's. They were like glass collector cups, so you could find
Yep.
them still on eBay.
I miss
And
those days.
I'm sorry, what?
I miss those days where you could get like really cool stuff from
Yeah.
McDonald's, like the cups and stuff, even though they're absolutely covered in lead, I think. They were still fun.
They were.
They were some of the best. I kind of non-ironically want to get one of those collector's cups just because they look so cool. But then
Mm.
I keep having to remind myself it's for Batman Forever. So
You know what? Hey, Jack. The roller coaster at Six Flags,
yeah,
Riddler's Revenge, is it based off this movie?
yes, it is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was, and there were stunt shows and there were other things at different Six Flag parks. I think one of the right eventually they did make one for Batman and Robin, but we'll save that for another day.
Oh yeah.
There were many deleted scenes, and the tone was originally darker. Like Two-Face's breakout from Arkham was supposed to be shown, and Bruce would gain amnesia at one point, forgetting he was Batman. And then, of course, there's that infamous giant bat that I told you guys about. And you were all, I believe you guys were
Ugh,
terrified by that.
I didn't like
It's
that.
disgusting. It's disgusting, but I love it. I'm here for it.
Mm.
I love it. One, I'm a big fan of practical effects. Two, you can almost feel the dread when it's because it is right there. It is real. It's not CGI, and it still holds up today. When
Yeah,
it's
you can.
moving through the screen, you can almost feel the dread that Bruce does because he does have a fear of bats. So it adds to that. The uncanny valley adds to that.
Yeah, and the bat is still there. You just don't see the close-up shot. You don't see but you see it flying towards him in the movie, and it's. I remember as a kid thinking, "Is that a real bat they just filmed in slow motion?" But no, it's an animatronic bat, and it looks really cool.
Where is that bat today? Is my
In
question.
hell, no, I don't
I
know.
want it.
I kind of want to hang it
Ugh.
as a chandelier.
Uh-uh. No, no. That's
Batman.
cursed.
If you really want to be creeped out by animatronics, I have a story for all of you later.
Oh God, is it Five Nights at Freddy's?
I was
Worse.
about to say that.
Batman Forever grossed $52.8 million its opening weekend. It actually broke Jurassic Park's record because I think Kyle was right. Jurassic Park came out first. On
Oh, no.
Rotten Tomatoes, it has an approval rating of 41% based on 71 reviews, with an average rating of 5.1 out of 10. On the critic shows, Siskel and Ebert, those are the two most famous film critics of all time, I guess you could say. Siskel would give it a thumbs down, while Roger would give it a thumbs up. So, based on the scores and what Siskel and Ebert said, you could really say that people were kind of split on this film. Like it was like half and half.
Appropriate.
And I have a few more things to say that we could comment on. Believe it or not, the press did have a field day with the costume designs when the film came out. Schumacher claimed that the suits, which included the infamous nipples, were supposed to be based off ancient Greek statues. Um, yeah,
Well, there was a lot of Greek statues in Gotham, so.
there
Oh
was
yeah.
there was a lot of great architectural work, and
Don't get me started on the statues.
you don't like the statues.
There were so many.
And
The one in the middle of the road was my favorite.
which one was that? Was it the? Oh, it was actually in the middle of the road.
Yeah, I was like just straight up in the middle of the road. That was it.
And I guess this is the last thing I have in my notes. This is where I went down the rabbit hole.
Oh gosh.
The rumored director's cut of Batman Forever. After Joel Schumacher died, various individuals reported the possible existence of an extended cut, first claimed by journalist Mark Bernardin. The journalist said it was darker, less humorous, had a focus on the psychology of Bruce, and less focus on Bruce and Dick Grayson. Warner Brothers said that while the alternate test screening cut did exist, they had no plans to release it and are also unsure if any footage remains intact. The screenwriter of the film, Akiva Goldsman, said in one interview he saw the original cut of the film and hopes it'll be released. This was in 2021. Then in 2023, a private screening of a work print by Kevin Smith, the director, was shown to Goldsman, confirming that the original cut does exist. And Warner Brothers the villains that they are, still have no plans to release it. And those are all my notes for Batman Forever. But would you guys, as much as we kind of bash the movie, would you be interested in seeing an extended director's cut of Batman Forever based on this stuff, like the more psychological, the darker tone, the giant bat? Um, would there
Yes.
Surprisingly, yes.
like it sounds interesting, and if it's something that Joel was seriously considering before the studio, if the studio said no to it, I say yes to it. Let's see it.
Yeah, they've already proven that the studio cannot make good decisions, so we might as well just ignore them entirely.
Exactly.
It's
Billy,
all
Billy, you're
the last 20 years of movie cinema clearly says that is true.
like Billy, you're very anti-studio. You sound like you'd want to see this.
Oh, I so want to see this version. Give me the darkness.
Like shortness with this is sound like something you'd watch shortness like
Oh, in a second, in a heartbeat.
like I feel like they should have released it after Joel or even Val passed away. That would have been um wonderful to have seen. So, is there anything else? I know we've kind of been going, I think we've been going on almost over an hour. This might be our longest podcast yet on Batman Forever. It's kind of surprised it was on Batman Forever, not like Batman Robin or something else. But are there any final thoughts you'd guys like to say about the movie?
Alfred is always a win.
Yeah, Michael Goff is the best in this.
Amazing
was-
eyebrows that man has.
True. There was so much rubber and so many piercings and so much leather with all the henchmen and Batman and Robin. There was just a lot going on. That's like all I
There's
remember.
so much to talk about still. We didn't even talk about Drew Barrymore's and the other
I
one.
was gonna say, did you know that they made a cameo in the Harley Quinn show?
They did?
Yeah, apparently there's a screenshot.
Does Drew Barrymore come back to voice, or is it just a silent cameo?
I cannot confirm nor deny that.
Oh, okay.
But
that
if
in the
I
new
find it, I'll send
season?
it.
Is that from the new season, Shortness?
I
Oh.
I'll send it to you. I have it right here.
Oh, perfect.
Like Sphinx, Billy, we started this podcast. We started adding you guys to the podcast with the Riddler episode. So, is there anything you'd like to add to this particular episode? No, it doesn't seem like your thoughts have really changed that much on Batman Forever.
I am glad I watched it again because the only other time I ever watched it was when I first watched it. It was very interesting to see it with like a new perspective now that I'm actually a fan of Batman versus back then. But yeah, my opinion really hasn't changed too
That's
much. I
fair.
liked all the neon. That was fun.
Like all those henchmen in their neon covered makeup. They're like, "Oh, look out! It's
Yeah.
the bat." No, wait, that's not the bat. It's just some kid or
The
whatever.
precursor to the lemon drop people in the Batman movie.
There you go,
Yeah.
Billy. Are you okay with what our thoughts are on this movie? I know Batman Forever holds a special place in your dark, dark heart.
Uh, I don't mind that you guys don't like it. That's totally fine. Like, I get it. I get it. It's for those who have different soft spots for different characters. Like, yeah, I can see it as a character assassination for Two-Face, a Joker 2.0 for Riddler. I do see that, and that's where I don't like the movie. But I do have that nostalgia for it. And if it wasn't for Jim Carrey's Riddler, I wouldn't have gone into Riddler at all. So I have that because he led me to Frank Gorshin because I tied the two together because all the similarities. So it's kind of a necessary evil, but still, I get it. You don't like it, totally fine. I mean, you guys put up with my hatred towards the Joker.
You know what? That's a good way of putting it. It's a necessary evil in some ways. Like the idea that it's a divided film, but it has brought a lot of good. Like it got you into Riddler. it introduced people to characters that they weren't like. Kyle, you said you weren't really familiar with Riddler's backstory, but you met Sphinx, who explained Riddler's backstory. You now find that interesting, and it gave us maybe not the best Batman, but a pretty good Bruce Wayne from Val Kilmer.
Oh yeah.
And I think we can all agree it's better than Batman and Robin.
Mm.
I think,
And I do want a preference. I do ham up my distaste for the movie to see Billy's reaction. It is funny, but I will stand by the fact that I don't like this movie.
it's. I would give if I had to give it like a rating. I hate the idea of ratings. I'd give it like a 6, maybe. I wouldn't give it like anything under a 5. I'm not that cruel, but for Batman Robin, maybe. Does anyone have any other thoughts on this movie, or any last parting words for Val Kilmer?
Nope.
Rest in peace, Val. Sorry, we kind of
Yeah.
sorry we kind of trashed your movie, but hey, we'll always have Willow. So Shortness, Kyle, Sphinx, and Billy, thank you so much for joining me here once again. We'll try and go to Batman Returns, but I want to also say we'll do other topics and maybe movies in the future we want to do. We've been discussing Grease 2 of all things, so maybe we'll cover that at another day. So, I will, as usual, put your guys's links in the description of this video, and I want to say once again, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here.
All right. Until then, we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Oh, wait, hold on. I have to remember how to turn. Give me a second.
I feel
Oh.
like this happens every time.
It does happen every time because I'm an idiot.
No.
Sorry, folks. We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.